You already know who it is, your favorite flat earth auntie, Auntie Tatiana. And in this video right here, we're going to be doing a deep dive on this book, The Smoky God. So this book was written in 1908 by William George Emerson. This book discusses a voyage to the inner world from an account by Olaf Jansen. AKA, this book is talking about Hollow Earth, y'all. Okay, so if you've been keeping up with my YouTube page, then you're already aware that I do not believe in the Hollow Earth theory. I think that the hole that this book is mentioning is actually the vortex at the North Pole that was closed. That vortex is what allows beings from this realm to enter into other realms. The character in this book entered that vortex, but at the time they thought it was actually inner Earth. Which, if you think about it, is very similar to what happened to Admiral Richard Byrd. Go ahead and look him up if you don't know who he is. You're behind. But without further ado, let's get into it, y'all. Okay, so the book starts off with the author stating that he realizes everything he's saying in this book is not going to seem rational to you guys, and that you're probably going to think that what he's saying is false. So the author is telling the story of a man named Olaf Jansen and his experiences regarding the mysterious North Pole. He says that what Olaf experienced in the North Pole is different from what everyone else has been told. However, the author makes very clear that it is not his intention to discuss the origins of the world, but only to enlighten people about an unknown part of the universe that Olaf Jansen claimed to have seen with his own eyes. Okay, so basically Olaf Jansen was on his deathbed, 95 to be exact. He had asked for the author to be at his bedside. Olaf was said to have been a believer in the ancient worship of Odin and Thor. And no, I'm not talking about these guys. Odin and Thor actually come from Norse mythology. If you Google Norse flat earth, this is what is going to show up. They believed in the flat earth. And as you can see, in the center of the earth, there is the tree of life and the vortex that leads to other realms. Olaf was a fisherman as well as a navigator and explorer, so he had experienced a lot of travel and adventures. He knew he wasn't going to survive the night, so he was like, I gotta hurry and tell you all this stuff that you don't know about, and you're the only person that I trust. He handed the author a bunch of drawings and maps and said, I'm gonna leave these in your hands to give to the world. I will die happy because I desire for the people to know the truth about the North Pole. There is no chance of you suffering the same fate which I suffered. They will not send you to jail or the crazy house because you're not telling your story, but mine. And I will be in my grave beyond the reach of the disbelievers who will prosecute me. So with all that being said, the author decided to accept the man's dying wish. So Olaf described inner earth as having 4 rivers. As you can see, there's 4 rivers here. These rivers were named Euphrates, Pison, Gihon, and Hiddekel. He explains how the surface world also has rivers that share those names due to the tradition that goes far beyond man's memory. On the top of this mountain, Olaf claims to have discovered the Garden of Eden. He says he spent over 2 years at Inner Earth studying and exploring the land, which he claims has stupendous plant life, as well as giant animals. He says the people in this land grow to be centuries old, and that there are large oceans and lakes that are larger than our Mississippi and Amazon River combined. The cities are of the highest quality of construction, and the vehicles are way more advanced than ours. Now, Olaf explains that in the center of this realm is a giant dull red ball of fire, and this ball is surrounded by a luminous white cloud. And this electrical cloud is known to the people of within as the Smoky God. The people believe it to be the throne of the Most High. Patagonians from South America are probably the only natives from the center of the earth that came out of the hole. They were known as the giant race. Patagonian giants were a race of giant humans rumored to be living in Patagonia and described in early European accounts. They were said to have exceeded at least double normal human height, with some accounts giving heights of 13 to 15 feet high. So where is Patagonia? It says Patagonia is a region that encompasses the southern end of South America, governed by Argentina and Chile. So that would basically be this area right here. And when we look at a world map, we can see that area is the closest to Antarctica. And if Antarctica is where this hole/vortex was, that would explain how the giant race came from out that vortex into South America. Here's an old map that actually shows the Patagonians. Olaf Jansen states that in the beginning, the world was created by the great architect of the universe. And the great architect created it for man to dwell in the inside, for that was the habitation for the chosen. So Olaf and his father are sailing towards the North Pole. Weeks go by. Finally, they see a ship larger than any ship they've ever seen. There are giants on this ship, and he describes them as being 12 feet in height. The giants spoke in a language Olaf didn't recognize, but he could tell that they were friendly. The giants motioned for Olaf and his dad to join them on their ship. The ship's speed was so fast, it was faster than any train Olaf had ever been on. 2 days later, the ship came to a city called Jehu. The main occupation of the people there appeared to be agriculture. The door casings and tables were all made of gold. Olaf mentioned that there was dome buildings that were also made of gold. I found that interesting because in the Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls book, which I already talked about in previous YouTube videos, this author stated how giants also lived in domed buildings. So there must be some truth to that. So Olaf is talking about how the vegetation and fruit grew in abundance, each grape as large as an orange, and apples larger than a man's head. Olaf says him and his father were in Jehu for 2 years, eventually learning the giants' language. While there, they heard a lot of talk about another city called Eden. They were taken to Eden in a strange vehicle. It was noiseless and ran on a single iron rail with complete balance. The city of Eden is located in what seems to be a beautiful valley, and it is located on the top of the mountain in the center of this inner earth, several thousand feet higher than any other portion of the surrounding country. Eden is absolutely beautiful. All types of fruits and flowers grow here. In this garden, 4 rivers have their source in a mighty fountain. They divide and flow in 4 different directions. So Olaf learns that the males do not marry until they are 75 to 100 years old, and that both men and women live to be 600 to 800 years old. Children are not supposed to attend institutions of learning until they are 20 years old, and then their school life begins and continues for 30 years, 10 of which are devoted to the study of music. So the principal occupations in Inner Earth are agriculture, architecture, and horticulture. Horticulture is the growing of fruits, vegetables, oats, herbs. Other jobs include the building of conveyances for travel on land and water, as well as raising cattle. The author of this book believes that science is in its infancy regarding the cosmology of the Earth. As far as gravity goes, which I already told you guys is just a theory, the author says no one knows what it is because it has not been determined whether it is atmospheric pressure that causes the apple to fall, or whether 150 miles below the surface of the Earth there exists some powerful attraction that draws it, kind of like some type of magnet that works on non-magnetic things. So the author of this book believes that the magnetic pole is located 1/2 the distance through the Earth's crust. He estimates that the Earth's crust is 300 miles in thickness. So that would make the magnetic pole 150 miles below the surface of the Earth. And at that point, 150 miles below the surface of the Earth, gravity ceases. The author believes gravity becomes neutralized. And when you pass beyond that point, or heading towards Inner Earth, a reverse attraction increases in power until the other 150 miles are traveled, which would bring you out on the inside of the Earth. I know that's a lot, you guys, but rewind it if you have to. Or, I could try to break this down better. Okay, so if you dig a hole a distance of 300 miles, it would then connect the 2 surfaces, meaning the outside world and Inner Earth. Okay, so if you're on the outside world and you have a weight in your hand and you drop it down that hole, the momentum will carry that weight past the magnetic pole. But before reaching the Inner Earth, that weight will diminish in speed, pause, and then immediately fall back towards the outside world and continue to oscillate, which means go up and down like that, or like the swinging of a pendulum, until it would finally rest at the center point, which is the magnetic pole. But it would only rest there if that reverse attraction that I was talking about earlier was removed. I don't know if that makes more sense for you guys, but that's what the author was trying to explain. Of course, I don't really believe in that theory because I think that they are portals, not holes that lead to other realms. But that's it for this book. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Please leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up. And let me know if you guys want me to do another deep dive on a different book. Maybe one of those flat earth books that I posted about in my YouTube short. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.